Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero. Our guest today is Vinny Rocco Vargas. He's an actor, writer, producer whose current day job is playing Gilly Lopez on the FX show Mayans MC, which of course is a spinoff from Sons of Anarchy. He got that job after auditioning for a tiny part, and once Kurt Sutter saw him read, the producers combined elements of two small characters into one more important character to get him more screen time. As a writer-producer, he understands all the elements of how the show comes together, and he works to make everyone look good. Given his resourcefulness, you won't be surprised to learn that Vinny was a drill sergeant. He was a Border Patrol agent. He's also deployed 3 times. The battle patch he chooses to wear is the Ranger Scroll from the 75th Ranger Regiment. You should look him up on VinnyRock.com. That's where he keeps all his stuff. You're about to find out that all this success couldn't happen to a better dude. Here's our special guest today, Vinny Rocco Vargas.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This
East.
is Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hey, this is Vincent Rocco Vargas, and you're listening to The Break It Down Show.
And now, The Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks. We're actually here at Food Lab just off of Formosa. We were going to hang out with Gilly-here. It didn't quite work out time-wise. I am sitting here with Scott, of course, co-hosting as always with the new lavalier mic that I'm proud of. And 3 veterans, but also 3 dudes that have transitioned into totally something else. And the thing I wanted to ask you to start off with is Rocco, Vincent, Vinny, whatever name you want to be called. I look at this the way you did. I left Afghanistan for the last time in 2012. If I was graduating high school, we wouldn't still be talking about my high school years, you know?
Right.
It's a long time ago, you know? In that time, you could have gotten a PhD or become a black belt, all kinds of things in that time. So, yeah, your military career was a chapter. Give us some insight into that. But then how did you learn to get basically totally past it? Or like, yeah, that's a thing I did in the past.
It's like I tell people, like, I don't want to be the Al Bundy of the military. We're talking about my 4 touchdowns in one game in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
Great analogy.
Like that for me has always been the idea of I never want to be the guy telling those old stories. Why am I not creating new ones?
Yeah.
You know, and just my military background, I'm 4 years active duty with 2nd and 75th Ranger Regiment with 3 combat tours. I'm an infantryman. I got out of active duty, went into the reserves as a drill sergeant. Been a drill sergeant since 2008. I did a small stint as a PSYOP NCO, and then got promoted right back into the drill sergeant unit right now. Currently still in the Army Reserves, and actually cool. Going through a weird transition. Might be med boarding, might not. It's just weird. Might just be walking away from the whole thing as well because how busy my life has gotten. It just hasn't been. I haven't been able to be the same NCO I was before, and so part of me that eats me alive. So I have to make a decision real soon to just walk away.
But that's true NCO blood, though, right there. Just that whole thing. And drill sergeant, you know, I actually I made myself well liked by the drill sergeant because I was getting smoked at AIT. And just for nothing, just nothing crazy. And the lady's like, I want you to recite, you know, all the general orders, all that stuff. She's like, recite, because I know it all. She's like, recite the drill sergeant creed or motto. And I'm like, I know most of it. I know it starts with, I am a drill sergeant. And then you're talking about pride and honor and working hard and believing in troops. And then you say, I am a drill sergeant. She's like, motherfucker. You do know that shit. I'm like, I do. Those are the things that make a difference. So you're looking at yourself as an NCO, as a drill sergeant, trying to decide, am I being the backbone anymore? And you're struggling with that.
My life got so busy that I couldn't commit to 3 weeks out of the year going to train troops. As much as I love doing that, I couldn't shave my face because I'm acting. You know what I mean? And so, like, last thing I want to do is show up looking like this in front of soldiers. It's one of those, you know, lead from the front, lead by example. Yeah. And I couldn't shave because, I mean, honestly, my livelihood is acting. That's how I pay my bills. My kids eat because of that. And so that alone, it's just like, well, my career as a military isn't lining with my career in the civilian world, which is what pays the bills, you know. And right now, my foot in the door in the military is just to hold on to something that I love so much. You know, it's never going to pay my bills. I'm not looking forward to that retirement. It's nothing. There's nothing about it. It's just the fact that I love being in the military. I love being able to give back a lot of the lessons learned in military lifestyle and be able to train the troops. Yeah. And so for me, I've been a part of it for that reason. And now I'm like, all right, man, I'm not doing it as good as I should be. Because I could have been an E8. I could have been an E8 probably 3 years ago already. But I don't have the time to go to the NCO development courses to get that.
It's a time sucker.
Yeah, it is, man. Sure. And you know as well as I do, like being active duty, that took so much time for my family already.
Yeah.
And like now, like a lot of things I was telling, I do a lot of public speaking on balance as well, which is a weird topic that a lot of us don't talk about. Well, I do because I've noticed a lot of us need to hear it. Like I needed to be home more and raise my kids. I needed to be relevant in their lives because my whole time was volunteering for the mission, for the school, for the classes, for everything, and being gone. And in my head, I'm like, well, I'm paying the bills. I'm a good dad, you know? And then you realize later down the road, like there's so much more to being a good father. And so that's where my whole life is taking me.
You really do, at a certain point, start making excuses for yourself that it is an acceptable lifestyle as a soldier or a Marine because I'm 24 years on active duty and 10 deployments, and that's who I was. Again, like you, it didn't really define me as a person, but I kind of fell into that role. And self-admittedly, there are times in my life where I think I'm not doing as much as I should be doing or I could be doing. And you're probably the same way. I would show up at the school events, and I don't know the names of any of the other dads or the moms or everyone else is like, hey, Jane, hey, Tom, and but everyone knows you.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you.
You're the
and
guy
you feel uncomfortable, right?
That's the dad that you never see.
He just got back from another combat tour and you don't wear that on your sleeve, but I felt bad because I wasn't ingrained in that. And granted, some guys have the luxury to like, wake up at the crack of 8 and take their kid to school. That's cool. But again, right now in your life, I think you've made a decision, which is an important decision, but also an important message to veterans. And let's just preface this first before you answer the question that I'm going to ask is when you look up what you do online, everything is really solely focused around acting because the Al Bundy analogy was great. I think that's important that you have to be proud of what you did, but you also have to be focused on what you're doing now. How important is that to you?
That's huge. That's like part of a lot of my transition speech and everything else. That's what it talks about. It talks about like I can't sit there and talk about what I've done before. I got to keep doing it. Like me as to represent like the Ranger Battalion, like the Ranger group. I want to make those guys look good, but I can't make them look good if I've stopped improving. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's my goal is to just keep going out there and keep producing, keep doing. Like the whole Ranger Creed is a big thing for us, you know what I mean? And then like lead by example, all those things, And if I'm not continually doing that, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about of being a Ranger because they're like, oh, you're like, I'd get out of shape. And like right now, I'm not in the greatest shape. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get back into
You're in shape for Mayans though.
Right?
Yeah. But you saw some dude busting down like, I don't know, the 91, like sliding down, like, hey, it's Vinny.
Well, that's the thing, dude, is like, I want to be in really good shape for people to be like, oh, yeah, that definitely was an Army Ranger. Oh, that's definitely a drill sergeant. You know what I mean? And I let myself get out of shape because, life just got busy and I started making excuses for my fitness, thinking, well, I'm not in the military anymore. I'm not a border Trojan anymore. I don't need my fitness. And like, then I started turning around like, oh, yes, I do, because I still represent that community. You know what I mean? And so that's the one thing for me is like, I want to represent my community well, and it's not by telling the stories of being in the community. It's what I've done after leaving that community. And
that's the lifelong commitment to being a leader.
Right.
And I think that you have a good sense of taking the aspects of being a trainer in the military and transitioning and doing what you do now to just be comfortable in that level of coolness again to say, well, I may not be training guys how to fire an M4 or an M16, but I'm training them how to write. I'm training them how to act. I'm training them how to speak well and engage and get jobs. Right. And I think is important and as valuable to especially the veteran community as anything. What are you were talking about talking to teens, you were talking about to the veteran stage. Give us some examples.
I do like a lot of speaking on, like teens is kind of an interesting because I raise kids, so I always give my own insight personally on how I raise my kids and kind of the mindsets and how, like I tell fathers, like allow your kids to lose, right? Like I say, give your kids the gift of a failure, right? That to me is the most important thing that any of us can have, because what helps us through that is resiliency. Resiliency is what gives you your bounce back. You lose someone in combat, how do you bounce back from that? It's resiliency. Yeah. It's, you know what I mean? And a lot of these kids these days who have those parents who let them win, they're always getting a certificate, they're never seeing failure. Yeah. Well, they're never learning how to handle that failure. And, you know, and so I talk about that for kids. For veterans, I talk about transition. You know, I really just tell them to, like, be honest with themselves, look in the mirror, and self-accountability. Like, your life is fucked up because the actions you've made, because you won't accept the fact that you fucked your own life up, right? You probably lost your job because you're drinking. You probably lost your wife because you're drinking. You know what I mean? You're probably unhappy because, you know, it's all these things that, like, eventually you have to look in the mirror and be like, oh, okay, I'm the asshole who's fucked my own life up. You know, and that's the big thing I talk about, you know, and I tell them my own things, my own mistakes I've made, to say, like, look, dude, you're not alone, bro. I've done it too, you know, but I can admit that I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? That's the only way I can grow past that. So a lot of my transition speeches is that. And then balance, like I said, like, my biggest thing in balance, I come down to the one thing is, like, I say no to work more often, and I say yes to family more often, right? I just say, fuck that. I completely flipped it, right? And I don't care about monetary value. There's a point, like, I have to pay my bills, yes, but if there's something that's like that shiny penny that's saying, hey, come take this job, well, I got to see what date it is, because if it's missing any of my kids' birthdays, hell no. You know what I mean?
That's a big thing in this town, too. We had Mark Schulman on the show. He drums for Pink, and he's a world-class drummer. And he's like, you don't pay me because I'm a great drummer. There's a fucking million of us. You pay me to be away from my family.
Yes.
And that costs more than me hitting some skins.
100%, dude. That's exactly, like, people like, hey, we want you to speak here and speak there. I'm like, when? If it's something that locally I can go do and not interfere with my daily life, oh, dude, you got me. I'll do it for free. I don't care. Yeah. But you're sending me to D.C. on a weekend where it's probably a good weekend for my family. Yeah. You're going to pay me, dude, because that sucks.
Yeah. Pete and I have talked about this. Is being in the public speaking arena is, I don't think people understand, especially when you're sharing really intimate details of your life, and not just the wins and getting up there like Tony Robbins, like, you got to be successful and you got to, and pumping the audience up, but really sharing and being authentic, and what I call picking the scab every time you get on the stage in front of, 200, 300, 500 people. It takes a lot out of you, and it's not a fucking hobby.
Yeah, no.
And these experiences that you have are unique to Vincent Vargas.
Yeah.
Those are your experiences, and I think people really need to understand that, and especially veterans, because we love giving stuff away for free.
Yeah,
you know, as leaders.
On-spot training. All right, bring it in.
Exactly, yeah. I always say this, we're so geared to lead this life of service, we always want to give it away. And you know, especially in this town, we're sitting here in West Hollywood, downtown LA, and nothing is free in this town.
No, man.
Nothing. So you have to wrap your head around that. How have you done that?
It's been crazy. Like, my ethics, my beliefs don't necessarily align with Hollywood's beliefs, right? And so it's a really touchy place. Like, but I also know, like, my time is valued, so I make sure, like, I'm getting I guess paid for fairly. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, dude, I like this. Like, I want to go teach. I'm teaching tactics for actors who want to learn how to carry a gun the right way. I want to go and enter and clear rooms, all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so that's, for me, is exciting, because I get to give back to these guys who look up to me in my background. But at the same time, like, but then half of these guys are also promoting on their social media how much gun violence and this is, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, I cringe, because I'm like,
double-edged sword, huh?
It's a weird world, right? And I can't, dude, everyone lives their own life, and I don't care what they do, man. But when you start stepping onto my toes, I start getting like, hey, man, like, understand what you're saying there. Like, I'm a guy who's law enforcement, military, like, my whole life, and so I do have a certain appreciation for guns and what they can do to help, not in the bad sense, right? Yeah. And we're living in a world right now, you can't tell me that there's any way you can stop active shooters. No. All you can do is prepare for active shooters. Yeah. And that mindset, it comes from our military background, just being prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. But for some reason, modern society, a lot of them don't want to think like that, or don't think like that because it's the scary thought. It's an uncomfortable thought. But that's, for me, is like, my kids all have tourniquets in their backpacks, dude. You know what I mean? Like, they all have them.
Alert.
They all have. That's like a good point. Like, the dude that drives the phone booth with crab legs, that's deployed, the IED bomb grabber guy, right? I try to explain this to the audience. He literally is in, like, what looks like a phone booth with the minimum amount of leg you can get, because he's the guy that grabs the bomb in a lot of cases. That guy rolls to his job every day with 4 tourniquets in place.
Yeah.
Because when he gets blown up, someone's got to start turning the faucet off.
It's crazy.
It's a different world. And then and I want to say this, too. When you talk about like things like active shooters, great weapons laws, that ain't going to do shit. Like, the planner has all the advantage.
That's the weirdest thing, man. Like after infantry, after I did the military infantry, I got into the border patrol and I ended up getting to the special operations of the border patrol. It's called Borstar, and I started really, really growing in the medical space because I was kind of tired of kicking in the door and being the shooter. I was like, let me be a medic for a tactical team and be a good medic for them.
How long did you do that for?
7.5 years.
What region?
I was all throughout Southwest Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from Del Rio to Eagle Pass to freaking McAllen, like all that border.
Hey, let's just give those guys a shout out. Customs Border Service.
I always, every time I do anything, I give those guys all the love because they're not getting the credit that they deserve.
They are working their dicks off down there. I worked with them. I flew the Southwest region, Yuma, Tucson, and San Diego doing a study, and I used to fly with those guys out of Yuma. Yeah. And it's balls. It's always something. The Customs Border, it is balls to the wall. They're out there, even the pilots, single piloted aircraft, M4, M9. I'll share a quick story you could relate to this. Is they're out there looking for sign. They find sign. They come down with the rotor blades and they wash it. A sign is like tracks in the desert. Yeah. And they dust it off. They call the ground units. And Gabe, the guy I'm flying with, he parks the plane and we get out and we're looking for some sign. He's writing it down. They know the types of shoes. Like, those are Nike Swifts.
Those would be Shocks. Those are we got a running W. We got
It's crazy the amount of knowledge. But he leaves the plane running, this helicopter. And I'm like, Gabe, aren't you worried? He goes, you know what, man, fuck it. If someone hops in there and tries to fly that, they deserve it.
Oh, dude, that's very common.
But
that's very common.
On it, man.
So we're working with the flight crew. Oh yeah, it's common for these guys to see sign ahead of us, to jump ahead, park that bird, confirm it, and so hey, you're good right here. Boom. So I put on the GPS and then I jump in front of them, and so we do this leapfrog effect, and that's just to jump on a group quick, man.
Yeah, I just have so much respect for those guys because fuck mainstream media about the wall and this and that, but the physical applications and the technology and the man hours it takes.
It's the biggest humanitarian mission out there. Like, people don't even see it as that, but that's all it is. We're out there making sure, look, we're going to stop what we can, but we're also saving everyone's lives that we can as well, because you have to. You're in the middle of nowhere.
The amount of guys that they're, apprehending drive through secret tunnels in the desert is like 0.005%, and the other 99.999% is rescue missions, and people are stranded with families and kids, and they're taking care of those people.
Bro, I've carried kids miles. I've carried kids miles because I'm like, all right, get up, let's go.
That's the coverage, unfortunately, that doesn't hit.
Well, that's what I'm going to work on that next book. That's exactly my focus, is to give those guys the credit.
That's a good read. Yeah.
The credit they deserve.
Episode hasn't dropped yet, but a guy, we do like these spy versus spy episodes where I'll talk to another spy. But this other guy, Jason Piccolo's got a podcast, and he's a border guy as well. We were talking about like legit, just all of the jobs that deal with immigration, and I'm a big wide open funnel guy. Like, hey, everybody come on in. We got a lot of help. Let's just get you registered so we can get you to make the transition easier. But like you said, like, there's rescue all the time.
Yeah,
people can't be walking across the desert, they die from that.
It's been, dude, so it was something around 26 guys are dying a summer.
Yeah.
A summer. Just on dehydration in Eagle Pass. That's such a small space.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so bad. It's so hot out there that you're walking up on bones. Like, they've already been, and it's only been a couple days. Like, it's bad out there. And the problem is, like, that's what my job was at Borstar. When we weren't doing certain missions, we were out there tracking groups that were scattered at night, because we know during the day they're probably going to dehydrate. Yeah. And so we're tracking dudes all day, and we're just finding them, rehydrating them. Sometimes you'd find them too late. Yeah. And then the other part of it is, eventually they pulled me out of the team and they pulled me as the medic for the tactical team. Yeah. But like I was saying, is like, my kids are prepared. Like, as weird as that is, coming from the medical side of me, I'm like, well, just carry a tourniquet. You never know. I don't want to be the guy that says like, hey, I have the training, I didn't give it to my own kids. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, that kills my own brain. But I also talk to them like, hey, here's my idea. Like, in a situation of emergency, but I mean, that's just how I've always been. Like, I train.
It's part of who we are. Yeah. And we're sheepdogs. Yeah. Everyone loves using that analogy. I know it's a Dave Grossman night. I'm a big Dave fan. Dave, how you doing, buddy? We mentioned it in On Killing, and I know Tim Kennedy's a big sheepdog guy. Tim's going to be down at the Warrior Expo West in San Diego next week. He's a fighter too. I'm sure you guys.
Tim's my boy, dude.
Yeah. Tim's been on the show.
Yeah.
But that sheepdog mentality, I think, is important because we're such a small percentage of the population. And then what got us into this whole discussion as we went down this rabbit hole was how that is perceived in Hollywood, in the other 99%, and the lens at which they look at you through.
Yeah.
And then what about the guys you run into that, the Navy SEALs or the Marines or the soldiers that they are doing the same things? And you're working, I will say this for the record, you're actually working actor probably more so than a lot of the guys who
I think are
veterans that are in the business. And
I'm one of the most definitely OIF working veterans right now.
Yeah. Because you're OIF, just to put in perspective, how old are you?
I'm 37.
Yeah, 37 years old. So that's the guys I led in combat. They're all 30-somethings now. They're all grown up. They got kids. They're all successful. But that's to be in your 30s and to be doing what you're doing. That takes a lot of work. The other guys in the industry, what's your perception of them that kind of get absorbed into the Hollywood scene and they kind of turn their back on what they really know? Like you were saying, is like, I know I should have, and it's extreme to some people listening, but to have a tourniquet in my car, in my backpack.
Yeah.
And those guys are like, oh, I better not say I have a tourniquet because I may not be perceived.
It's tough, dude. It's tough for me too, because you can potentially blackball yourself from this industry by being open about anything that other people disagree with, right? Like, even being a former law enforcement, that right here, and to some people is a bad thing because all the negativity that law enforcement is receiving these days because some unjust shots or even justified shots, whatever the case. And so even that you could be perceived as like, oh, dude, you're a cop, like. What? You know what I mean? Like, but it's just, you know what I mean? It's like we're in a world where, like, I wouldn't even say it's just like this Hollywood. It's just like everyone's super sensitive to things, and because of mainstream media causing all the separation, you know what I mean? It makes me uncomfortable to say anything about me. Most of these guys know. A lot of the actors really respect me, and they're really cool, and I became really good friends with them because in the end, man, we all started, like I grew up here in LA, so like a lot of us grew up here in LA and went whatever path, and then boom, find ourselves back on set, which is kind of a cool thing. And so the guys that can look past everything else, like I don't judge them for being in prison, they don't judge me for being a law enforcement, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But the military thing is always a different thing, you know what I mean? And I always tell the guys, like, just be smart, man. Be smart about who you talk to and what you say. Like, I'm not going to be buffered by anyone. Like, I'm going to be me, but at the same time, I do have to play the game until I can get to a point where my name is known for being this or that, and I get the opportunities presented to me.
Playing the game.
Yeah, I have to play the game.
You have to play the game, and some people, especially veterans, I don't know what it is, but I always use this analogy. I said, what was Michael Jordan doing in the offseason?
Yeah.
He was shooting free throws. He was doing layups. He was being the best at his game because to be great at the game, you have to, one, know the rules, and you have to practice. It doesn't mean you have to sell out.
Yeah.
But if you want to be great at the game, you have to play the game.
That's exactly, like, I think there's guys that want to try and get into the community of acting and get into this world, but they also want to go against the grain because they're veterans and do it their way. I'm like, that's cool, bro. We'll see who does better, right? Let's see who gets there first, and let's see who has the most long-lasting career. I call it a slow burn. I want my life to be a slow burn, man. I'm not burning out in 1 year. I want to go and go and go. And that happens by not burning bridges, you know? But, like, I can make my way through this, still be who I am, not change who I am, and make the name that I want, right? I want to be able to eventually produce videos, movies, you know, full feature-length films of other veteran stories. I can't get there yet. You're right. I'm not there yet. I'm not respected enough as a filmmaker yet, but I'm slowly going towards that. But if I start burning bridges, dude, no one's going to give me a chance. You know what I mean? Like, Netflix won't look at me. Amazon Prime won't look at me. You know what I mean? So, like, I try not to use the veteran thing to promote anything. It's like, yeah, that's a part of me, but so is being a dad, and so is being a baseball player, and so is being a law enforcement officer, and so is being a corrections officer. Like, all that stuff is a part of me. There's lessons learned that I've learned and made me who I am today, but, like, none of that stuff is what's going to help me in the meeting room with Netflix. Be like, hey, I was a veteran, give me a chance.
All of those things subconsciously are helping you when people put it in perspective, is that at each one of those pieces of your very young career, whether it's the military or law enforcement or baseball, you had to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing in this town, is everyone sees the 5-minute splash on the screen, or they see the billboard, and they think that just happens. And for some, Maybe it does.
I love the quote.
But you paid your dues.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I love the quote. They say an overnight success takes 10 years. Like, that to me is so awesome because I've been doing the YouTube thing since 2013. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what started me into the entertainment space, was like doing YouTube, really, really seeing the impacts we could make in the veteran community, seeing the positive feedback. And I was like, wait a minute. I can inspire more veterans by doing this, like just putting my stories out there, just having fun with my friends and filming. And that is what drove me like, yeah, but this is just YouTube. Like, I think so different than some people. I'm like, I don't want to be YouTube famous. If I'm going to be able to influence more veterans, I have to have a bigger name for myself. Yeah. How do you do that? It's not YouTube. It's mainstream media.
If you take this camera and spin it around the other direction, if someone walked into Ranger Regiment, day one, like they're fresh tab, I don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're the guy that cleans the shitter if we like you.
Right.
You have to earn your way in to become a pro. You're going to go on patrol as a raw Ranger, like years before you're taking legit. Oh, you can do a lot of push-ups?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Cool.
You can run 5 minute miles? Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, get in line. There's 100 other dudes like you who've been here longer. So it's the same thing in any high-level profession. And for sure, being a Ranger, PSYOP, how complex is that
world?
Yeah,
that was interesting. I loved it. I was about to get deployed for a mission until I got promoted out of it. And I was like, damn, I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted it.
That's maybe the most complex human-based job in the military.
Yeah. And it's helped me a lot with, like, a lot of things in my life. It's helped with marketing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just understanding, your target market, what I mean? And understanding how to approach them, also knowing your potential secondary market, all these different things. Like, it's helped me a lot to understand just life in general, using SOB even like in dating. There was guys that were trying to use it in dating. Like, let's see if I can, like we were, as us as NCOs going through the course, we're learning how to use this. And we're like seeing like, well, let's go to the bar and see who can use this the best. Like, how are you going to persuade someone? Like, first you got to build, you got to build rapport, and all these concepts we're using, and we're just learning how to be proficient at our skill sets.
What was that film with Colin Farrell, the CIA guy?
Yes, when he goes into the bar.
That's their mission, is like
to pick someone up.
Yeah.
You know what the advanced level that is getting your friend laid.
Getting your friend.
If you're so persuasive that you're like, I'll get ass all day long. Let me get this guy ass. That's the pro leagues.
That's the pro. That's
you want to get in with
we gave that mission to Chad Collins. Like that's Chad, like, just take your shirt off, or like Rudy. It's like, that's not it. But getting your friend,
Yeah, I actually used that trick working with some group guys.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't get asked whenever. Here, let me get you. And they're like, bullshit. I'm like, watch.
Yeah.
And then I just focused on that. It's not any harder. Yeah. It's just the same skills. Yeah. You just focus on a different target, you know? But let's put the military stuff aside then, because I like how you've transitioned. One of the guys that's been a co-host on the show is Mark Valley. You'd never know. You would think Mark Valley, he's an actor. Oh, he was on Boston Legal. Oh, he was in Human Target. Never know he's a West Point grad, engineer, deployed to Desert Storm, because it's not who he is, right? And he doesn't play a military guy on TV. Sometimes he plays a military base character, but I imagine that's kind of where you'd want to be. Where like, that guy, Rocco's just an actor. Like, he can play anything.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like, I definitely don't want to be, put into the corner of like, hey, you're going to be the big scare. You're going to be the next Danny Trejo. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't want that. I want to show I can act. I don't mind playing. Like, I went to an audition as a gay man. Like, and my wife was like, man, that's interesting. I was like, it's actually pretty exciting for me because it's something I've never even thought of. And so try and get into character, try and think about it. It was a challenge, but you know what? That's what drives me in this. Like, I have to shape myself into what they want me to be. And that's fun. It's so different. It's like therapeutic in a way. And so like playing a gay man, like I told my dad, he's like, what? And I was like, this is my career. I'm gonna step outside of those comfort zones because I'm an actor. I do whatever you tell me to. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to convince you watching that I am that person. And I'm evoking the same emotions that you thought. Like, that's what it is. And it's like, if you don't love the art of acting for that, and you're doing it for fame, like some guys are, like they just want to be famous, like, bro, you're never going to respect this craft, man. Like, I want to play a dad, like, because I am a dad. I know how to pull from that. That's easy. I would love to play just a suburb dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who owns a business, right? But, like, I tend to get put into the big tough guy roles, which is cool. I get it. But, that so I'm working towards, there's things that I need to do in my life to try and get seen different, and one is, like, obviously I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. I want to get down to, like, a lead weight would be a lot thinner than me. You know what I mean? I would like to get to a weight so I can be looked at as like, oh man, he could probably play a lead in a boxing movie or whatnot, you know? But like as the big guy, it's always hard because you kind of get typecasted. And
yeah, because no matter what you do, you can lose all the weight you want. Your shoulders are still 4.5 feet wide.
Did you tell Alex that?
Right. No.
So we're talking about Alex from Armbar Podcast, who are good friends of ours that we were talking about before we started the show. Tell Alex you can't do something or you're having a challenge. He will eat that like your lunch. Yeah. He loves it. And I think Mike is a prime example. Where he's like, oh, I couldn't do that on the mat. I couldn't do that in the studio. And Alex is like, watch this, bitch. I'm going to make you do it. And then he does it. Yeah. And he told me, he said he felt so proud of himself because Alex found a way with everybody's different body type and disabilities. Yeah, so he is such a smart guy.
I have a bad back, bro. Yeah. Like it'll go out, and when it's out, dude, it's got 2 weeks, and it's scary because it's happened before on set, and I'm like, man, I could really ruin my career by not being able to get on that motorcycle and ride when I need to, you know. And so when I do jiu-jitsu with him, if my back's bad, dude, he still finds a way for us to work. Yeah, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. That's a really cool thing about him. Like he's not just a jiu-jitsu guy that's going there and kick your butt. He's like, what are your injuries? Okay, cool. Let's work around those and keep working. And it's super cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a holistic badass combo. I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to take
you
with
a little bit of perv.
I'm going to take you with us. Yeah, always. Yeah. I'm going to take you with us. We do a sweat lodge. You ever heard of that, sweat lodge?
No. They're going to get... all they have to do is shame you just a little bit, and I'm pretty easy to bend. I don't know about break, but
we're gonna sit in there and do a sweat lodge. It's crazy, but I took him. It's something that a lot of veterans are trying to do now. It's just a cool ceremony, you know, and it's all it is like a really ridiculous sauna.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business, or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner
or at JohnLG69
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
It's just a cool ceremony, you know, and it's all it is like a really ridiculous sauna. You know, no medicine is involved. It's just straight. You go in there and enjoy the ceremony. But I took him there, and we had an awesome experience. And so that's something while I'm here in California, I'm going to try and get a group of more veterans to go check it out. It's a cool way of like, it's another therapy thing to try and just put your body through and see how it goes, man. It's cool.
Because you didn't come up as a young actor and you came in as a man with a totally different fierce skill set. Yeah. Right? So when you walk in and you see 25 more of you in an audition, that doesn't bother you. I'm positive that's not the case. Yeah. But that's not true for the other dudes in the room because...
Yeah, you see a lot of insecurities when they walk in.
Right. Talk to me about how you work that or just that whole scene because, no one's going to shoot you in that room.
Here's the way I think about it, man. Like there's no other person that's me, right? There's no other Vince Vargas out there, dude. You're never going to find it. You're never going to... You can go looking... There's no one who's done what I've done, who's experienced what I've done, seen what I've seen. No one. And so, like, that alone is like, I feel like I'm good enough. You know what I mean? And if I walk in that room and it's not who you want, it was never going to be who you wanted. No matter how hard I work on it, because I show up there prepared every time. Yeah. No matter what, it was never going to be me. Okay, cool. Go to the next one. And that's it. And if you think, oh, man, I should have worked a little harder, I could have got it. It's like, bro, you should go in there fully prepared every time. Yeah. And if you go in fully prepared every time, if you don't get it, bro, it was never meant for you. It's meant for someone else. And so if you do that, so I go in there every time, dude, people are always like, man, you're so chill. I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. I studied, I practiced, I'm going to go in there and do my thing and walk out. And if they get the job, cool. If I don't, okay. Now, is it discouraging to go 15 in a row and not get it? Yeah, that fucking sucks, dude. But then you start questioning, like, all right, am I not preparing myself better? Yeah, you start preparing, but I'm never, like, nervous about the dudes in the room. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these dudes. They're all cool. Like, hey, bro, I say what's up. Some guys don't talk to you. Some guys walk in and, like, look down and go to their corner. Some guys walk in and get nervous and walk out and just wait out there. It's like it's a whole weird thing.
Yeah, it's a weird vibe.
But, like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. I'm here to fucking try, and if I get it, cool. If I don't, no big
Every
deal.
rejection is one step closer to acceptance.
Yeah. And
in some way.
I'm one of the most luckiest freaking actors out there because as I started to try and do acting, my first freaking real gig was Mayans. It's like, all right, bro, that's a little too lucky. You know what I mean? Like, but I produced a movie before this already. I produced a short film as well. And so I had an acting reel, and it was preparation meets timing, man. Like, they needed a guy. I walked in, look at me. Holy shit, he looks like a biker. Yeah. Boom. Can he act? Yes. Holy shit, let's go. You know what I mean? And so the evolution of my career as a Mayan was kind of pretty cool because I first started in the first pilot. And the first pilot, my character was nobody, bro. I just carried a freaking thing. I'm like Mayan number 7 in the background. You know what I mean? Like, pretty much, you know? And I'm like, hell yeah, man, I got a job. I'm acting. This is cool. And I'm pumped, man. And as people started to get to know me, at first I knew there was like a little bit like, who the fuck is this dude? You know what I mean? Never seen me before. Then they started seeing like people tag me. Then they started seeing my Instagram. They're like, bro, why do you have so many fucking followers? I'm like, oh, bro, I did YouTube. You know? And I produced a movie and this and that. And like, they're like, asking questions, and they keep asking questions. So they start digging, and they start to get to know me, and they start to fucking like me. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. They're starting to like really understand who I am, and it's really cool and cohesive unit all of a sudden. So then that pilot gets thrown out, dude, and they go and reshoot the pilot.
Damn.
I show up. Two guys got removed from the show for whatever reason. Maybe they found another gig, whatever the case. All of a sudden, my character is a combination of my first character and another one, and now, bro, I got lines. Yeah. And I don't just got lines. I have a lot of lines. And I was like, holy shit. Within freaking a year, my life changed.
This goes to the whole preparation thing. Like, we just had a guy I grew up with. His name is Todd Nunes. He makes horror films. And he realized his path in was to just go out and make fucking horror films. Make a 5-minute film. Make an indie film. And slowly work your way up by doing that. And then Hilliard, the guy that just works around the corner here at the lot, he talks about, like, when you audition, you're auditioning in general. These people do auditions for projects all day long. Yeah. So if it's not this one, it could be the next one. Like, no, you're not right for this. But you know who's right for this? That Vinny guy.
Yeah, that's exactly
it. And so you're always ready because you're always putting things into your capability.
Every audition you go to is just a chance that they saw you. They saw you, and they're like, dude, that one guy with those neck tattoos, that's the guy. Let's call him back for this gig, for a different role. So it's like, it's never lost. You know what I mean? You're still putting your foot out there, just starting to see your face. You know what I mean? Who knows? A new role shows up and they're like, dude, that dude would be perfect. Let's give him a call.
Tell the listeners, especially young vets or guys that are transitioning, like that excitement. And I'll use an analogy or comparison because they're great. When you are in the military and the first time you ride in a helicopter, or the first time you're in a tank, or, like, there's excitement. So the first, and I'm thinking two things. Is you just posted on social media, they had zip tied your name on your parking space. You're like, fuck yeah, I've made it. Like A-list, right? I got my own parking space. Because that's a big deal in this town where parking is a premium. But talk about that excitement, like the first time you walk onto the set, and also some of the stuff that it's not so exciting. It's not as glamorous as you think it is. Well, dude, it's work.
It's extremely. I'm extremely. Have so much gratitude just for the opportunity, right? And it's intimidating more than anything. It's, imagine showing up to a new platoon, and you're like, all right, now I got to prove myself to these fucking dudes. Right. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. You show up on set like, all right, dude, fucking do work. And, you know, and I doubt myself. I was in the first scene, and I'm super excited to be. I'm like, man, I'm fucking acting, bro. Like, I can't wait till my fucking dad sees this shit. You know, so I'm like pumped. In the first scene, they say action, and my co-star, another star on the show, it's Richard Cabral. Fucking incredible actor. Emmy nominated, Critics' Choice nominated. Just a brilliant actor. And he says one line, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm in a whole different world. Like, he said one line, and he had me like, like on scene, and they were like, cut, Rocco, you good? I'm like, yep, sorry. Completely dude, I spaced out because I was like, this dude is, and then I started thinking like, oh fuck, I'm not ready. There's no way I'm ready, and start fucking doubting it. But I'm like, man, I can't fuck this up. So it's like, the part of me is like, dude, you've done harder shit than this. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm doubting everything, but like, no, but I've never done acting like this. Like, this is an extreme level of acting. It's a higher level of acting. It's like, it's top choice acting compared to what I've done with a Range 15 movie I produced with my friends, right? It's so different. And so then I started really doubting myself. I'm like, no, motherfucker.
I want to get into how it's different because I've experienced this. Like, you sit across from Jay Moore, and he turns that beam on you. You're like, Jesus Christ, it blows you back.
Yes.
Like, they can transmit that emotion. And it's just, it's so times 1,000 because it's got to be big enough for the camera. And you're like, God damn, it's like
a sonic boom of emotion that hits you, and you're like, oh, I'm not ready. You know? And that's what I thought. I was thinking like, I'm not ready. So I started going to acting classes right away. I'm like, fuck this, dude. Like, you can't show up.
PME.
You can't show up and be the guy that's the weakest link. Like, that's never been me. I've always been like the fucking trying to be the best out of everything I do. So I'm like, fuck it. And that's why I kind of started realizing like acting is no different than fucking being in the military in my head. It can't be. my job is to be the best version of that. And the training it takes for being an actor is definitely different training for going to war, but it's still training in its own. It has its own medals, right? Mission Essential Task List. Like, bro, I need this to be a great actor, to be the best before I get deployed or I get activated to go fucking act. And before that, I didn't think of it like that. I was just like, fuck, I just can practice and keep going to, like, doing my own skits and learning it. And I'm like, fuck no, bro. This is a different level. This is like fucking Boy Scouts to fucking military, like straight up.
Give us an example.
Well, dude, like, I never knew anything about character development, right? Like, character development is such a huge thing. And
everything.
Yeah, it's everything. Everything. And if an actor can't learn how to do character development, you're going to show up flat, right? Because your character's not even developed. You're just a dude saying his lines, right?
Yeah.
And so you really have to dig deep into your character. And if the writers don't give you fucking make it up. And you tell yourself, okay, well, this dude, he grew up like this, and he's this. His background, like, I know I'm an ex-fighter. I know this is like my character. So I don't know a lot. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to keep digging. And then it starts saying, like, oh, you're an ex-military guy. I'm like, oh, they're fucked now. Because now I know this, so I can start pulling from that. Yeah. So my character in my head, I already know. So when I'm doing my lines, when I'm doing everything I'm doing, I know this is the version I need to be, right?
Does that give you some... I don't want to use the term like extra respect, but when the showrunners, the directors, the producers, they see that ethic come out in you as an actor, they think to themselves over there, so, man, that's the guy we can definitely count on because he's.
I don't know, right? Like, I don't know what they think of me. I don't. But dude, I show up every time.
Is it pretty shrewd? They don't like to give you feedback, or they're very reserved in giving praise or gratitude.
Actors always want praise. Actors always want affirmation. It's just, I mean, look, I need to know that I'm doing a good job. And so I think that happens so often. I step so far back, and I'm like, those guys deserve way more affirmation than me, so I'll just stand back here. So I kind of always kind of put myself in the back and not to try and beat, because I think some of the guys I work with are incredible, and I'm learning from them daily, right? It's like on the job training, but I don't know. I don't get a lot of feedback, but I get a lot of feedback from my co-actors, right? Like, guys will be like, dude, where the fuck did you learn how to act? And I'm like, bro, I've done some theater in college. I've done stuff here, and I'm just kind of self-taught until now, obviously going to acting classes, right? And he's like, dude, it's fucking good. That's
probably the most important,
right?
From your peers.
Right, from my peers. A guy I'm on scene with, and he's like, dude, that was fucking good. I'm like, damn, thank God, because I want to be the guy that can hold water with them. Like, I want to be able to be there with them and feel like I deserve to be there, you know? And so it's a tough career, man. But like I said, now that I think of it in a different mindset, I'm preparing myself way more. Like, physical fitness is a huge one too, you know what I mean? Like, so many different things. Like, I want to come correct every time. I want them to be proud to keep me on there. I want my character to expand. The only way that all that happens is they see, like, this guy takes this shit serious and he's fucking ready.
When we see someone down who's struggling in the Marines or in the Army, we always go out of our way to help them up.
Yeah.
Is that common in Hollywood on the acting scene? Are there your peers, guys on the show that are, I don't use the word mentor or friends that they say, hey man, your shit's in the street, Vinny. Like,
I don't
punted
know
that one.
I don't know if other stages are like this, but these guys are like the fucking best people.
Family.
Right? Yes. Like, those dudes, we're friends. When this show ends, we go home and still fucking, hey, bro, what the fuck, dude? Like, hey, you gonna come here? If you come to Salt Lake, fucking hit me up, bro. We're gonna go grab beers and grab dinner and, like, let me meet your family. Like, dude, it is a different connection. It's so similar to a squad or a platoon. It really is, because, and I've heard from other people, like, you won't see this. Like, this doesn't happen often. I think we all have a lot of gratitude for being able to land a show like this, knowing the gravity that this can be the game changer for all of us for the rest of our lives. You go 7 seasons, I will never have to work again. Like, just straight up, because of residuals and everything else in acting. So we all know the gravity of it and the gratitude. It's just, everyone's like, whatever you need, bro, whatever you need. And so, like, I use all these guys in my, I think every single person there is a mentor. Even the guys that I'm like, that's an interesting way of acting. I don't know if I would have done it that way, right? Like, I'm learning from everyone now. You know what I mean? I'm taking the good, the bad, the ugly, and fucking, I can call any of these dudes like, hey, bro, I feel like a fucking idiot right now. This line, I don't know if I could pull it. They're like, bro, let's go work on it. You know, and when you have that, dude, I don't know anyone else that has that. I'm just blessed enough to be a part of a group that does.
But what is that, though? I mean, you talk about these tools that you see that you may or may not use, and we talk about these things in general, whether it's musicians or writers. Yeah. You've got this bag of tools, and you may never grab that one tool, but you know it's there, and you know how to work it.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things that you've picked up along the way? Because this is stuff that nobody ever talks about or discusses, really.
Well, it's cool to see everyone has their own way of preparing for their scenes. You know, everyone. If you go in everyone's room, like everyone's what do they call it? Your trailer.
Yeah.
Everyone's trailer's set up different, right? Like some guys have a very spiritual trailer. Some guys have like a very like hangout lounge trailer, and they just do it themselves. They bring a package of stuff and they make it theirs.
Right.
And for that day, they're in the zone. Like if you have a very dramatic scene, sometimes I don't want to even talk to a guy because I'm like, let him do his thing. Like, I don't want to come in here and be like, bro, last night, me and my dad were, you know, I don't want to do that. I want to pull him out of his zone. So it's just very comfortable. You kind of, I know whose scenes are happening that day, and I know like, all right, he's not doing much. We can just bullshit all day. And then I also ding like, hey, dude, so on this scene, let's talk, right? And so all that stuff is I'm learning, and that's what I do now. Now, there's 4 guys I'm usually on set with. We sit there and talk about the scene our own way. We're like, oh yeah, well, I'm fucking mad at you, bro, because you just fucking disrespected me.
Yeah.
And so know that, like, I'm giving you that energy. I'm gonna like, dude, you're gonna get that from me. So I'm gonna be like, fuck, bro, but you know what I'm saying? And he's gonna be like, yeah, bro, yeah, because you're upset with me because I did you wrong. I get it, yeah. So I'm gonna be a little bit standoffish, right? I should be, yeah. And so we're feeding the scene ourselves like over and over and over and over, and then it go action, and then boom, it happens, and then you're like, oh, cool, that was good. We all felt real, felt honest, and I already knew what emotions to stir up by the time, because I know what's happening. You have to be so there in the moment as you're doing it, and so that's kind of like what I've been learning from these guys, and you know, it's just cool to see everyone's process and see which ones I like and which ones I don't. You know,
when you have an emotion to hit, and they say it like, and you figure out it's whichever, and there's a zillion emotions.
Yeah.
First off, to know that there's a zillion, which one makes you go, oh fuck, I don't know where that one begins, because I know like Mark Valley talks about starting at one and then working your way into that emotion if you don't know that emotion already.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I don't think there's an emotion I don't know because I've experienced a lot. Right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I've had good friends die. I've been in love. I've seen my kids being born. I mean, I can run the gamut of emotions. You know what I mean? And so I feel I have a Rolodex of all that.
Yeah.
The hard one was I had to be angry, and for some reason I'm a super chill dude.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to get me there, and I was having trouble finding that. You know what I mean? And so that's sometimes something. So when I went home, I started working on that because I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, don't question it. This should be an easy one. You know what I mean? But like, I wanted the opportunity to cry. I want the opportunity because I know I have it. I know I have my triggers that can help me with that, and I'm ready for the challenge of that. Right? It scares the shit out of me.
Sure.
So they say action, I can't pull it. You know what I mean? But it's a thing where my life.
So what scares you is not accessing that emotion, but it's getting to the emotion and pulling off the.
It's pulling
the
it
tears.
off.
Okay.
It's doing it because I know I have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I tell you, like, sometimes you are pulling off that scab, right? Sometimes you are pulling off that old emotion. But like for what I do, I think it's the most therapeutic time to do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's let it go, you know?
And when you talk about tears, like there's tears of joy.
Yeah.
There's tears of pride.
Yes.
There's anger tears.
Yes.
There's despair. All these different kinds of
Yes.
tears. Can you get there with all those things? The whole gambit?
I don't know if like tears of joy. I know I've had that. I've had that experience, you know? Tears of pain for sure.
Yeah.
Tears of anger, I don't know. I can say probably, but it's a fun. I like when I read the script and it gives me that, it's going to be like, oh, let's go practice a ton.
Yeah.
You know, and I know guys like, you know, one of my buddies, pretty well-known actor, Steve Howie, and dude, he says it, like when he has a hard scene, nobody talk to him. Like no one. Don't even walk in and say hi. He has a hood on, he goes straight to his room, he just sits there and waiting for it. When they say action, he walks on scene, he does it. You know what I mean? But like, that's the kind of level of determination and practice and professionalism that you should have. You know what I mean? And that's what you expect on set.
That's pro business.
Right.
You know, like it's just everybody knows their job and they stay the fuck out of each other's way. You don't got to check my ruck. You know my ruck is good. Yeah. Everybody knows.
We all respect each other's work ethics.
Yeah, exactly.
I like how you were talking earlier about family and creating time for family, which is important. Talk about how your family, you mentioned, I want to try and play a gay role. I want to cry. I want to do these things where you're this big badass Harley rider, veteran, soldier, drill instructor, and now you have to explain this to your wife. And how long have you been married?
Oh, we've been married 4 years.
So she's been part of this whole ride.
She's been part of the whole ride.
In the transition. And then your parents and the understanding of the craft and being an artist and this is what I do.
Yeah.
How hard was it for them to make the adjustment from the family side? Because this is a component that I don't share a lot about what goes on in that publicly, because I like to keep those things private. But I do talk about, that was when you lock yourself away in your studio for a year and you write a bestseller, you're dumping, you're pouring, and there's a process. And when you're in it, it can isolate your family, and there's a lack of understanding, especially for the left brains listening who get it, the right brains that you're surrounded by sometimes. How was that for you and your family? And then the follow-up is, how do they support it now?
So remember that right there. For them. So at first, before I even did it, like, I knew I kind of wanted to start stepping in that world, and then I met my wife too, right? And I'm like, hey, I want to do this. She goes, really? Why would you want to do that? I was like, because, like, I try to explain to her, like, how much the acting side is, the art of it is beautiful to me. And she's so disconnected from that idea, right? She's just like, oh, okay, fine. You know what I mean? So for me to, like, she supports it, but doesn't understand where's that passion coming from, you know? So that was always a hard thing. But I said, you mind if I go for it? Like, no. She's like, oh, go ahead. That's fine. As things started happening, it's like,
it became more real.
Whoa, this is no joke. It's happening. And she knows I'm, like, super motivated, so she kind of, like, expected something, but not to the gravity of what had happened. And so now we were all like, oh crap, here we go. And so right away, boom, it takes me away from her, which I haven't been away from this woman since the day I met her. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, I have to go to California for a couple months. And she's bawling, dude. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I feel bad, but, like,
she's a newbie. She didn't endure the deployments and anything.
No.
So she's not trained.
Right. Yeah,
in that
exactly.
regard.
So she's never experienced any of that, right? She's experienced me being home, taking the kids to school, cooking dinner, like, just me being a home dad, working online, right? That's what she's experienced. And so now it was a different thing for her. And so she was getting emotional about it. My kids were a little, like, some of my kids, they're so young. Some excited about it.
How
you know
old
what I mean? I have from 6 to 16.
Okay.
So the
old
young
enough to understand, but also be a little delusional. Is like, this is fun. You're having fun.
Right.
Why can't I go to Hollywood?
Oh,
Take me with you. And
it's the whole.
How do you explain that it's work?
That's what I try to tell my daughter is probably the one who doesn't get it, right? Like, she's like, oh, I want to be famous. I'm like, baby, I don't want to be famous. Like, I don't do this to be famous. I can give two fucks about being famous.
Right.
That doesn't do nothing for me. Like, I don't need that to feed my ego. I want to challenge myself in the arts of acting, right, in theater, and tell stories. Like, I want to be the storyteller of our time, like you as well, telling stories. That, to me, it's super powerful. It's giving back. That's my foundation.
That's the love.
Yeah. And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, you want to act? Go practice. Here, I'm going to write you a monologue. Go ahead and get ready. No, Dad, I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it my way. I'm like, okay. Exactly, because all you want, like, she didn't respect it, and she's young. She's definitely not mature enough to understand the gravity of what acting really is, and so it is what it is. But as things have progressed, my family's, like, more and more, like, surprised, like, man, like, you're really acting, like, you're an actor.
It happened.
Yeah, I crossed over. Everyone in this world who's trying, no, I crossed over, and that to me was like, holy shit. And so my wife tells me, like, hey, why don't you take off public figure on your Instagram and actually put actor? I was like, I just don't feel like. She goes, you're an actor. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
so I finally put actor.
That's good support.
Because I myself didn't want to, like, I'm like, is it weird calling myself an actor? And she's like, no, you're an actor. You're on a show.
That's like the Rocky moment when Adrian's like, win? And he's like, okay. Like, it's so simple. Yeah. But he needed that. He needed it, you know? And we all need that thing.
100%.
And in this business, too, you understand that that's important as far as getting you in the door, because I wouldn't go to a film junket or an event where there's a lot of people that he could possibly land another role and say, this is my friend and public figure, Rocco Vargas. Say, this is my friend. He's an actor on Mayans, Rocco Vargas. He's done this, this, and this. And one of the young publicists, when we were doing something, right after the book came out, got corrected and said, when you introduce Scott, it's not, this is one of our authors, this is best-selling author. Yes. Because you don't say, this is self-published author. No, that sounds better in the entertainment world.
Right.
And a lot of veterans, a lot of guys telling these stories like you and I that want to share great stories, not just veteran stories, have to really subscribe to that and say, I am in the entertainment business. Because people don't pick up books, they don't turn on Netflix, they don't turn on their TV to be bored. Yeah. They want to be what?
Entertained.
Absolutely.
Yeah, entertained.
Absolutely.
So now, the family, when we get back to, like, the point of the whole thing was, like, I still fly home almost every weekend, right? Because I still I still maintain the idea of being home with family as much as possible. Now, they're in Salt Lake City. I don't ever plan to move into LA because we really like our lifestyle out there. We love the school. The kids love the community. They love their friends. I don't want to keep moving them back and forth. But I continue, like, if I have a 3-day weekend, I'm flying. If I have a 4-day weekend, I'm flying. If I have a 2-day weekend, I'll make a decision whether it's worth the time to fly out there or not. You know what I mean? Or I can focus on me. But this has been continual. Like, I already have a ticket for one day coming up to be home for 5 days straight. Because
that is important to maintain that balance.
And that's part of the balance that I kind of maintain with my family. Is like, they know I'll be in LA, but they also know we have FaceTime. We FaceTime almost every single day. And then I fly home every moment I get.
How do they deal with, especially the kids, first, I'll ask you, what was the first time you got recognized in public? When someone comes up to you and does that, talk about that feeling, because we never expect that as veterans.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that guy's a commander in this, or that guy's a sergeant here. You don't expect that. And then the follow-up will be how your kids perceive that when you've got hundreds of thousands of strangers following you on social media, which is powerful.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy. So, like, you know, I was getting recognized from YouTube videos already as is, and it was here and there, you know, and it's cool. It's cool to see the people like, oh, man, I love your stuff, whatever. But then we were at my daughter's birthday about a year and a half ago, and some lady standing at the table shaking, saying, oh, my God, are you Gilly? And I was like, yes. She's like, can I get a picture? I was like, not right now. And that's the only picture I've ever denied, only because I'm in my daughter's birthday, and I'm about to light the candles on the cake, and I was like, really? Like, really? Right now? Can you just wait 10 minutes, 20 minutes? And so she goes, I'll just be back here. I was like, okay. Take it. My wife's like, this is getting weird. Like, you know, because it's getting weird. But it's cool. Like, you can't not enjoy that because it is part of the gratitude you have to have for being in this position. Like, that's part of it. This is part of it. All these people that support it, that are fans, that like my page, that follow, that are supporters and all that, they're the reason I have the life I have. So I cannot do anything but give them all the gratitude in the world. Say thank you.
I mean, there will possibly come a certain time where you just can't manage all that. And I don't think the public who are consumers of entertainment really understand, especially the really big celebrities. And there's a perception. I worked up here in Hollywood for when I retired from the Marine Corps, and a lot of people think, well, they want that type of attention. That's why they're in the business. And when you get to a certain level, nobody wants that. Nobody deserves to be harassed.
Why would you want to lose your right to just eat with your family and enjoy that time? Yeah. Why would you want to lose your normal lifestyle that we all kind of have for granted? And those guys can't even eat without someone just snapping a picture in their face.
And people don't. And again, I don't say this disparaging like consumers and the public, but they really don't see when you're on set for 12, 14 hours a day, and how much work it is.
I brought my dad on set, and he's like, no, Dad, son, I'm good. Never again. Because it was all day. I'm like, yeah, Dad, this is what we do. I go to my room, I take a nap, I get up, I go.
Which you're also well trained for. Hurry up and wait, right?
I tell him,
hurry up and wait.
I'm like, this is like,
Vargas, get on the set now. I'm here. All right, wait.
Military
6 hours later, scene.
It's an interesting thing, like, you know, we live in Utah, which helps me a lot. But being in LA, I definitely get recognized a lot more because it's the hub of entertainment, you know. And Mayans MC is a Latin show, so we have a lot of Latin Americans that just know it. In Utah, I seem to be in my little hole where a lot of people, some people that know, they don't say nothing. They're just like, hey, I love your show. Thank you. You know, they have a lot of respect because we're in the community. Our kids go to school and the churches and all that stuff. And so I think people have a lot more respect there for what I do because I'm part of their community. But like in LA, it's a lot different. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when your face is on video and you're on TV. Yeah. Even, being someone who who's a writer, when someone says, oh, hey, I read your book.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Like, you actually looked at the back cover flap, or they knew who I was from some stuff. And it happened to me twice coming into San Diego airport one time, and the lady standing at the carousel next to me who I flew out with, she says, does that happen to you often? I go, never.
Yeah.
Never. It never. But it was very humbling.
I was in the airport, and some guy goes, dude, you're Vincent Rocco Vargas, man. You're like famous. I'm like, no, bro, I'm not famous. Just, I am traveling through. And another guy gets out the plane, goes, holy shit, it's Vincent Rocco Vargas. He's famous. And I was what the fuck? Like, never in my life has this happened, right? But it made me look like all of a sudden, like, okay, I guess, fuck. Like, I knew it was like, things are different now, right? Because, like, it was a funny thing, dude, because I'm like, I don't like to call myself famous. I think Tom Cruise is famous, dude. You know what I mean? Like Kim Kardashian, those are famous people. I'm just a dude that's just lucky to be here. So when I just told her, I was like whispering, like, no, bro, I'm just here. And the other dude screams it. I was like, oh shit, man. Life is different. Life is completely different.
When you're up in Utah, I got to ask, do you have a Harley? You have multiple Harleys?
I have one here.
You ride?
I have one here. I brought it with me.
When did you start riding?
I started riding right during the show. So the show is the one that paid for me my lessons.
So you're like a boot Harley rider.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Bro,
be safe up here for Christ's sake.
My father, dude, he's like rides his whole life. My uncles and they've always been asking me, when are you going to ride? When are you going to ride? And I'm like, I don't know. And also in the show, like, can you ride? I'm like, a little bit.
Well, I'm ashamed to admit I have. I shouldn't even say this publicly, but both of my Harleys are out of registration, sitting in my garage.
No way, they're just sitting there.
I'm so busy all the time. Yeah. I don't get to enjoy it like I used to, and
we'll get it set up so we can ride while I'm here. Yeah. I have a group of really good dudes.
Yeah, I love to do that. I'm not averse to riding. It's dangerous up here in LA,
bro.
Getting on a good ride.
Every time I get on the bike, man. Every time I wake up in the morning, like, am I going to ride today? I'm like, do I want to ruin my life? Yeah. You know what I mean? I get nervous because it's not me. It's other people that don't see me. It's mistakes made because I'm super cautious. And so, like, I won't ride with certain people that are very, very skilled because I feel like they're going to always push their limits, and I'm not.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
I'm not the guy. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that wants to cruise and have a nice drinks. Not alcoholic, but like go get a nice coffee somewhere at a cool spot.
Yeah.
Like, let me get a cool cruise in. You know what I mean? But if I'm with someone that's trying to push that,
it's really hard to do out here. It's just, there's too many variables.
So I go towards Santa Clarita.
Sure.
That's where. So I stay out there, and I stay over there. That for me is a good. We have some good cruising and everything.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of the antithesis of the whole vibe of Sons of Anarchy turned Mayans is, these guys are boozing and they're riding and, let's go get a latte. Fire them up, boys.
Oh, dude. It's funny, man. Yeah. Like, I'm like so not those dudes. You know what I mean? I'm such a chill cat. I go to Starbucks and I write, like, all the time. That's what I do. I sit at Starbucks. I grab my iced coffee and I just, So
you're saying instead of saying outlaws across your shoulders on your leather vest, it says in-law.
Baby on board.
Oh, man.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
We've had you for an hour. And, I'd love to have you back, but I don't want to take all your time.
We had a great connection coming into this show because Armbar Podcast and Nick Velez at Bastard's Canteen in Downey here, soon to open in Temecula, introduced us. And I full disclosure, is like, I didn't really know who Rocco was, but they said, "Hey, sir, you got to follow this guy." I'm like, "Roger that." So it's orders up now.
Yeah.
I do exactly what they say because they're really smart guys and they're always looking out for me, just as they always have in combat and still to this day. And so I DM, Vinny. I says, "Hey man, I'd love to hop on the pod." He's like, "What pod?" And then we go back and forth.
Like, yours and mine.
Yeah, but it's the Armbar guys too. When they came in, they're looking at my company picture, like, "Damn, sir, like you got a lot of Mexicans in your unit." I'm like, "I know, it's a huge Hispanic mafia from Echo Company, but those guys, just like you, are doing such amazing things in their post-military lives. It just makes me proud to really be part of the community. It makes me proud of you, as a fellow vet. And I just want to say thanks for coming on the show with us, man. It's been great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And if people want to find you, where do you want them to go to?
You can go,
find out what you're doing.
I got VincentVargas.com. You can go check out that. It has my social media. It has pretty much everything, my blogging, my podcast, everything you can find on that. But Instagram is Vincent.Rocco.Vargas, and Facebook's pretty much the same. So hit me up anywhere, like just under just the last message I would like to say is like my whole purpose is just to be able to, I want veterans to be able to step outside the box of what they believe they can do. You don't have to get out of the military and go straight to law enforcement. You don't have to do anything. You can do anything you want is what you can do. You can choose to be an actor. You can choose to be a model. You can choose to do anything in the realm of this world that you want to do. All you have to do is put in the work and work towards that mission. Like it's all it is. And so I hope you guys can do that. And thanks for listening.